right, honors chem scientists. Just wanted to make a short video. Just wanted to go over a couple of things with you guys. Number one, with our metric prefixes, and then I also wanted to do a little bit with the dimensional analysis, just kind of getting us started. Okay, so taking a look at the metric system, right? Hopefully we should be relatively familiar with the metric system. This is what we call a base 10 system. Okay, and basically what that means is each prefix in the metric system is 10 times bigger or 10 times smaller than the one next to it. All right, so over here on the left-hand side, I've got these big things. Okay, so I've got mega here. So think about this like a mega meter. This would be the equivalent of 1 megameter is going to be the equivalent of 1 million meters. Okay, so a megameter is very large. By comparison, down here, 1 micrometer is going to be 1 millionth. Okay, 0.0000006. That's 6. What am I doing? 1 meter. Okay, so 1 millionth of a meter. Very tiny. Okay, so let me get those out of the way here. We don't need those. Okay, as I go to the right, so things are getting smaller. Okay, as I go to the left, things are obviously going to get bigger. Okay, and I've got this main section here in the middle. This is probably where we're going to spend the most of our time when we're dealing with metrics, in particular with the kilo, the base, and base is going to be things like when it's just a meter or just a liter. Okay, we're also going to see some centi and milli, right? Those are probably going to be our most important ones. Okay, but we do need to know all the ones that are in between, right? And a good mnemonic, if you don't know it already, to know the order that they go in, is King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Okay? And so that's going to be really helpful for us because as we're doing conversions, we can do those in multiple ways. All right? For example here, let's say I have 512 meters, right, and I want to convert this into kilometers. Okay? So I'm going to look at this. I'm going to start with my meters. My meters, we said that's our base. Okay, so I'm going to start here in the middle where the B is. Okay, I want to go over to the K, right? That's where the kilo is. Okay, so I'm going to move 1, 2, 3 spots to the left. Okay, so what that means here is I'm going to take my decimal place. So my decimal is right there after the 2. I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3 spots to the left. So this is 0.512 kilometers. Okay, and that makes sense because a kilometer is a lot bigger than a meter is. Okay, it's 1,000 times bigger. Okay, so it makes sense that there should be less of them for the same distance. Okay, likewise, if I were to take 341 meters, okay, let's convert this into decimeters. Okay, so decimeters are smaller than meters. Okay, so I'm going to go to the right. Okay, and I'm only going to go one spot. So what I can do here is I can move my my decimal spot just one place to the right. So I'm going to have 3,410 decimeters right? That's going to be the equivalent distance to 341 meters. Okay, so we can set it up like that. We can just move things around with the decimals, or if it works better for you, what you can do is you can take these guys. I'm going to just rewrite them: deci, centi, and milli. Okay, so I'm going to base everything off of the base here. Okay, so let's go up first. Okay, so deca, dA, that is 10 times the size of our base. Okay, so it's like our base times 10. Okay, a hecta is going to be 10 times bigger than that, or 100 times the base. And kilo is going to be 1,000 times the base. So the way to think about this is 1 kilometer would be equal to 1,000 meters. 1 hectometer would be 100 meters. And 1 decameter would be 10 meters. Okay? Likewise, if I go down, right, similar pattern, but kind of the opposite, because now we're going down to smaller ones. Okay? So deci would be like my base times 0.1. Right? It's 1/10 the size. Centi would be 1/100th the size, and milli would be 1/1000th the size. Okay, so another way we could set these up would be, let's say I have 3,422 meters, and I want to figure out how many kilometers this is. So I can set this up using my equivalency. So I know that 1 kilometer equals 1,000 meters. Okay? So then I'm going to set this up. I'm going to use that equivalency that I just wrote down, right? And I'm going to use it to cancel out my meters. Okay, so I got meters here, so I'm going to put meters on the bottom. Right, and then I'm going to put that 1 kilometer on top. Whatever I put in this fraction, those have to be equal. So that's why I'm setting them equal here. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. Okay? And so then I could plug this into my calculator, 3,422 times 1 divided by 1,000. Right, that's going to be 3.422 kilometers, right? My meters are going to cancel out. So if you think about this as a fraction, that's over 1. So I got meters on the top, meters on the bottom, and they cancel each other out. Okay, so that's another way that you can do it. You can use either the decimals and you just slide them back and forth, or you can make a fraction like this, right? And essentially what we're doing is going to lead us in the next thing, right? This is essentially dimensional analysis. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at some dimensional analysis. Okay, so this is on the following page. Okay, this is a good way for us to set up our problems so that we can keep track of units, right? Make sure that we end up with the proper units in our final answer. Right? It's a very powerful tool for chemists to use. Okay, so I'm not going to always make you use it. Right? There's certainly sometimes where it seems a bit more tedious than what it needs to be, but there will be some times when I'm asking you, make sure you do this in science or in dimensional analysis, and so I want to see that you can do it that way. Okay, so this is something that we need to learn how to do. Okay, so I think the easiest way to kind of explain it is to go through it and do some problems. Okay, so let's start with this first one. It's a nice, easy one. Okay, we're starting off with 46 quarters, and I want to convert that into dollars. All right, so hopefully we all know that there are 4 quarters in $1. Okay, so there's my equivalency. Okay, now in order to set this up with dimensional analysis, I'm going to take a look here, and so I have 46 quarters, so that's going to be what I start with, and I want to get them converted into the dollars. Okay, so I'm going to start with those 46 quarters. I'm just going to abbreviate QT for quarter. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these fractions, kind of like what we were just looking at with the the metric one that we did above. Okay, so I'm going to take this, and I'm going to put this over 1. Okay, so note that I got quarters, my units are up on the top with the 46. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I need to make a conversion factor. Right? And the way I make a conversion factor is I take an equivalency, like I have over here, right? And I'm going to set it up so that I cancel out the units I want to get rid of, and it gives me the units that I want. Okay, so I'm trying to get dollars as my final answer. Okay, so I want to make sure that the dollars are up in the numerator, so I'm going to put $1 up here. Okay, and then that means I'm going to put 4 quarters on the bottom, and that works out because, like we said before, if I have units the same on the top and on the bottom, I can cancel them out. Okay, so now all I gotta do is plug this into my calculator. I'm gonna start with 46, right? And then you can multiply that by $1, and then we're gonna divide by 4. Okay, so you should be ending up with $11.5. Okay, and that's dimensional analysis. Okay, we're setting up these fractions, we're using conversion factors to change our units, right? And we're just trying to make sure that we're getting rid of the units that we don't want, and we're keeping the units that we do want. Okay? All right, this would probably be a good time for you to pause and try the next one here, going from dollars into quarters. Okay, so hopefully you have done that, and so we're doing a very similar thing, but we are doing it backwards. Okay, so we're going to use that same equivalency that we just had. Okay, but I'm going to start now with dollars. So $7.50 or $7.50. All right, I'm going to make that a fraction, put it over 1. All right, and then I'm going to use my equivalency to make my conversion factor. Okay, I want to cancel out dollars, so I'm going to put dollars on the bottom. All right, and I'm going to put my 4 quarters up on top. Okay, so dollars have canceled. I've got my quarters. That's what I want. So I'm ready to calculate this through. So I'm going to take 7.5 times 4. All right, and that would give me 30 quarters. Okay, let's go through some that are a bit more complicated. Okay, now we've got our conversions here on the side, some equivalencies. Okay, now you are expected to know your metric equivalencies. Okay, but anything with like feet or miles or quarts or anything like that, okay, those would be given to you. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. We're starting off 61.8 centimeters. I'm trying to get these converted into feet. Okay, so centimeters is the metric system. Feet is the imperial system. So we got to do a conversion between those. Okay, so I'm always going to start off with what I'm given. So 61.8 centimeters. I'm making a fraction, putting it over 1. All right, and so I'm going to look at these conversions that I have. Okay, I've got 1 inch. It goes to 2.54 centimeters. I got 12 inches to 1 foot and 1 miles to meters. Okay, so the one that's helpful to me here is that first one, right? Because I'm in centimeters, and that's the only one that has centimeters specifically in it. Okay, so I'm going to use that one. I'm going to make my conversion factor using that. So I'm going to take the centimeters, I'm going to put them on the bottom so that I can cancel those out. Okay, and then I'm going to put 1 inch on the top. Okay, so I'm not quite where I want to be yet. Okay, so I'm going to continue on. I'm going to make another conversion factor. Okay, now I'm in inches and I want to get to feet. So I've got another equivalency here. 12 inches is 1 foot. So I'm going to put those 12 inches on the bottom and 1 foot on top. Inches cancel out. All right, and taking a look. Units are good. I've got feet. That's the only thing I want. Okay, so I'm ready to calculate. So I'm going to take 61.8, divide by 2.54, and then divide that by 12. That's going to give me 2.03 feet. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. We've got a couple more, but they get a little bit more complicated. Okay, so I'm going to stop with those ones, and then we can pick up with those next time.